I've studied Revelation for 40 years, and I've read all the conjectures, but none of them really have impressed me too much. I'm not sure what that means. And there's many conjectures, as I say. But from the point of view of genetic engineering, you read this now, it may have a whole different complexion than was anticipated in the past. The beast that was and is not, even, that's the Antichrist, if you will, he is the eighth, after seven that have been talked about. He is the eighth, but is of the seven, and goeth into perdition. Is he a clone of one of the other seven? Could be. Who knows? Interesting. One comment I will make, as you study the restrainer in 2 Thessalonians 2, I believe the restrainer in 2 Thessalonians 2 is restraining far more than you and I have any capacity to imagine. Every time I've studied the Scripture and discovered that I have to repair some view I had of previous years, and there's been a number of times I've had to do that, it's always been in the direction that I didn't take it literally enough. The more I've studied the Scripture, the more I've been driven more and more to take it more and more literally. I go through Revelation today and take it even more literally than I ever have. If I was going to make a movie of what I thought the world would be like right after the rapture, I don't think it would be believable, because I think it's going to get weirder, stranger, than we have any capacity to imagine, even with all our special effects and science fiction perspectives. And I think the world is going to get really bizarre. And I'm glad that if you're in Jesus Christ, it's academic, we'll watch it from the mezzanine, right? Jesus did tell us, except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Well, we've talked about a handful of topics. Interest time, I won't beat this to death. I'll leave you with one last thought, and that's that we live in hyperspaces in the first place. Nachmanides in the 12th century said the universe has, from reading Genesis 1, he said the universe has 10 dimensions, only 4 are knowable. That was his view. Particle physicists today tell us that we do live in 10 dimensions, only 4 are directly measurable, linked with height and time. 6 are curled in less than 10 to the minus 33 centimeters. If you look at our thing, Learn the Bible in 24 Hours, our perception of Genesis is that the 10-dimensional universe was split into the physical and what we call the physical and spiritual realms. And many of the things we may be experiencing may be trans-dimensional phenomenon. David Bohm was a protege of Einstein and one of the world's most respected quantum physicists. He did landmark work in plasma physics. He believed at the subatomic level, locations cease to exist. It's like the universe is some kind of giant hologram. John Bell, back in 1964, formulated a mathematical approach to demonstrating, to explore the possibility of non-locality. There wasn't the technology then, but in 1982, Alan Aspect and his colleagues at CERN conducted a landmark experiment. They demonstrated that subatomic particles have no locality. And I won't go through the physics of this. They took photons going in opposite directions with filters that switched fast enough that they demonstrated that all photons know what the other photons are doing instantaneously. And that means they have no locality. Anyway, so our whole concepts of reality are being altered. We're discovering that we all are in a gigantic simulation. If you want to understand one colorful entertainment piece, I encourage you to rent a movie called 13th Floor. It's just a piece of entertainment. It's a clever script, I think relatively well performed, but it also gives you a whole different perspective of our own society. But part of the myopia of our life is that we are force-fitting discoveries into obsolete models. And again, in the interest of time, I'll skip into this. I think man is invading a world of which he has only the faintest glimpses, and the uncharted impacts can replicate unseen. They can transcend borders, species, and generations. And only the most committed people can persist in denying the role of a deliberate designer or creator. And we need to recognize that you and I were fearfully and wonderfully made. For thou hast possessed my reins, the psalmist says, thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being incomplete, and in thy book all my members are written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. When did God first start dealing with you? Before the foundation of the world, Ephesians 1:4. God bless you.